What's good, everybody? It's your boy Todd Smith here, yet once again alongside my tag team partner Dale Clifford. Welcome to yet another episode of the No Gimmicks podcast. So Dale, we just got done checking out Roadblock, End of the Line. Another Raw split brand pay-per-view. What's your thoughts on this one, my man?
A little disappointed in it. I think Raw continues to kind of fail in the split brand pay-per-view. SmackDown, I think, to me, has delivered the better pay-per-views. Whether or not who delivers the better weekly programming, that's debatable. But right now, I still feel that SmackDown's pay-per-views are a little bit better. This one had some good moments, but I think kind of having the main event be what it was, and then you get Jericho and Owens through tables in a Shield reunion-esque type thing to try to save the pay-per-view. I think it's a little weak.
Yeah. Not only that, for the pay-per-view to conclude, not only with the the kind of partial reformation of the Shield, but the fact that the main event ends in a DQ, a DQ finish. That's never ever really a solid way to end a main event on a pay-per-view. But anyhow, let's get into the good, the bad, and the ugly. So the main event featured Kevin Owens, our current WWE Universal Champion, taking on Roman Reigns, who is the United States Champion. The good for that one is the fact that Owens retains the belt. Owens retains, and he carried the main event. Awesome displays of athleticism out of Owens. The multiple fraud splashes, both through the tables, and also once he got Reigns back inside the ring. Also, he had a couple nice senton splashes. And that really sweet-looking somersault leg drop that's reminiscent of Booker T's Harlem Hangover, which I haven't seen him execute before. So, Dale, what's your thoughts on this one?
Yeah, it was definitely another solid outing from Owens. And, same old from Roman. We're kind of getting the gist of what he can do. He's got a Samoan drop. He's got the sit-out power bomb, the spear, the drive-by. It's like we're kind of just seeing same old from Roman Reigns.
Yeah, no evolution in his moveset, really.
I'll say it's like we're seeing same old from Kevin Owens, but the thing is, his moveset is so much more diverse, and wide open.
Yes.
With the things that he does, it's repeated. And then you got different versions of things that he does. Like obviously in this one that we kind of tag teamed into the ugly, was just the frog splashes onto the table. So.
Yes. Yeah, definitely. I like the fisherman suplex that he delivered instead of actually with them facing. With him facing the crowd, and delivering with Roman landing on his back, he kind of was the one facing towards the ring, and he delivered it, into the ring, if that, makes any sense. So it's kind of like a reverse fisherman's buster from off the second rope there. Yeah, definitely some good stuff from out of Kevin Owens. And yeah, like I said, we just haven't really seen a whole lot of growth of Roman Reigns' moveset. He hits that sweet-looking sit-out powerbomb. That's probably my favorite move that he does.
I was about to send out a tweet because obviously in this one Roman Reigns has the Superman punch and the spear, but he does have the sit-out powerbomb. And I was sitting here and I'm like, what's the difference between Roman Reigns' sit-out powerbomb and Kevin Owens' pop-up powerbomb that makes one finish and the other not? But then Reigns got the foot on the rope for the pop-up powerbomb, and then I canceled my tweet.
Oh, boy.
Well, because I was just sitting there, I'm like, because we have two dudes that hit power bombs. Like, one finishes, the other doesn't, because I don't think Reigns has finished a match with the set-up power bomb, even though it looks so good.
Yeah. It's his strongest move, and I don't know, maybe it's just me. I always thought that, you've had Bill Goldberg use the spear. You've had Edge use the spear. You've had Rhino use the gore, which is basically the same move. Lashley uses the spear. I just don't understand why the spear is a finisher. I always thought that the spear should be more of a setup move, which leads to something bigger.
Agreed. Well, Goldberg uses it as a setup to the jackhammer, so agreed.
So I just don't know. I don't understand the infatuation with that move. It makes more sense, when somebody, I guess for all intents and purposes, Bill Goldberg, former football player, Roman Reigns, actually a former football player, so it kind of is fitting and it kind of made sense. But yeah, I'm kind of over the spear. So moving on to the bad here. One thing that you have mentioned, Dale, is the fact that KO is the WWE Universal Champion. But he wasn't really taking advantage of the heelish tactics which he could have used. An example, why would he roll back into the ring to break up the count? If the count is, coming out from the ref, and if he doesn't roll back in, he can pretty much retain the title and end the match. So what's your full thoughts on that, Dale?
Exactly. Owens is supposed to be a heel. Heels don't matter how they win as long as they keep the chattel around their waist. So why,
right,
when we're in a count-out situation here, does Owens roll back in the ring and then roll back out to break up the count? I was like, I can get him rolling back in the ring and just staying in there and hoping to get a count-out victory, whatever. That one still doesn't even make as much sense, but it's as less weird as him just rolling in to break up the count, because obviously heels aren't supposed to care how they win as long as they keep the belt around their waist. So to me, it's like very non-heelish move for a guy who was supposed to be the heel.
I don't get it either.
Just a side note, I was just going to note, as this match was going on and I was getting the thoughts maybe that Reigns was going to win, I was just kind of like, if Reigns wins, WWE just needs to let it go. It's like they need to stop letting him have the cheesy one-liners that try to make him a face. Just let him go be the guy that just gets booed when he comes out.
Yeah. But thankfully, they didn't go in that direction.
Nope, Owens won, and luck, and thank goodness that Reigns is still held away from the World Championship.
Yeah, before we move on to the ugly, if anybody out there listening to this edition of No Gimmicks Podcast has any clue as to what possibly could have been gone through Kevin Owens' head when he decided to roll back into the ring and break up the count, please leave a comment in our comment section on our official YouTube channel. We would appreciate that very much. So
while you're leaving a comment, go ahead and subscribe to us too while you're at it.
Yes, thank you, Dale. Dale being a company man here, always looking out. Yes, please subscribe to us. The next, comes the ugly. So Kevin Owens, as we said, he actually delivered, some pretty nice fraud splashes. But on the first attempt through to Reigns on the announce table did not even slightly bend. I was almost questioning if he even was delivering the move on the correct table. It did not budge, and then of course the second time around it wound up collapsing. But Dale, you have anything to add to that?
No, I think kind of that was a fitting of the ugly, because I definitely felt like Owens just did the second one because he's like, I refuse to not have this spot go right.
I'm glad he didn't. I'm glad that he went for it a second time, because it actually did look pretty cool, him putting Reigns to the table before him and Seth Rollins had their fun, and they got to put both Jericho and Owens towards it, to the tables towards the end of the show there.
That is an interesting thing that we kind of have going on, is we have Owens that does a frog splash, and we have and then Rollins that does a frog splash. Just to kind of have the multiple guys, especially even on the same show, use the same move. Obviously,
that's a good point.
There are varying moves that get used all the time by multiple guys, but this is one of those specialty moves that you now have being featured by two guys.
So, Dale, it leads me to ask this question. When's RVD going to come from out of retirement and show him how to really do the fraud splash?
Yeah, that would be good and very interesting. This would seem like time. You got Royal Rumble, WrestleMania around the corner.
Yeah. Where are you at, RVD? Be good to see you back in the swing of it, Moving on here to our women's title bout. We had Sasha Banks, who was the WWE Raw Brand Women's Champion, taking on Charlotte Flair. The good in this one had to have been the fact that both women brought it. Incredible effort in this bout, which lasted, was scheduled to last 30 minutes, but wound up going 30-plus minutes into overtime. This bout features some very strong psychology and some good uses of submission holds out of both Charlotte and Sasha Banks. Dale, what's your take on this?
Oh yeah, definite good work there, and then obviously you knew that once Sasha got the first victory that Charlotte needed to kind of change the game plan, and her thing is the figure 8 lock. So going after Sasha's knee worked absolute. That's where she was going to go. It's like obviously gets Sasha set up in that corner and then drops the foot there and drives down the leg and stuff like that. Michael Cole can't keep track of what leg Charlotte needed to work over though, because obviously he has no clue what the hell is going on in anything. He kept saying that Charlotte needed to work over the right leg when it was the left leg that she was supposed to work over. So
it was the left leg all along, and that looked pretty gnarly when she dropped the knee on the back of her leg there as she was in the corner. I kind of like that spot there. Yeah. So besides the fact that Michael Cole can't call a match to save his life, let's move on to the bad here. So the fact that Charlotte wins the title for the 4th time in 8 months here, it creates no stability in the women's division. The title is just switching hands far too often. And Dale, this was a point that you were pretty passionate about here, so I'm going to kind of let you take the lead on this one here.
Oh, it is just absolutely ridiculous. It's like Charlotte can't lose on a pay-per-view because she has the undefeated pay-per-view streak. But it seems like WWE has no other women on Raw that they wanted to put in the main event scene. So they're like, all right, well, we'll let Sasha win on Raw to keep this feud going. It's like Sasha's and Charlotte's a 4-time women's champion now. It's like in the span of 8 months, the title has flip-flopped 7 times.
Ridiculous.
And then also, it's like my wife, who's a huge fan of Sasha Banks, brought up the fact that it was like, you can't. It's like, how can she call herself the legit boss when she can't win at the pay-per-view?
Good point, April.
So it's just absolutely ridiculous. It's like this title has no legitimacy whatsoever. Even the talent that Charlotte and Sasha have, it's like, all right, we're going to flip a coin to see who wins tonight. That's basically the mentality that we have here.
That's almost what's come down to. And the question is, who's next? I mean, seriously, not to, quote Bill Goldberg or anything, but who's the next in line? I mean, is it Nia Jax? Possibly?
You got Nia Jax and Bayley. That's the only two that there's any remote chance of competing for the women's title. And you're like, all right.
Yeah.
But you have to feel like neither one of them are going to come in and take the title from Charlotte. Otherwise, here we go again. We're just going to flip-flop the title.
Yeah. Oh, boy.
At some point, one of the women on Raw has to just make a long run with the championship. Like a long run. To just stop this flipping a coin when we get to a Monday Night Raw or a pay-per-view and being like, all right, tonight's night we're going to toss the title over to someone else.
Yeah, and I mean, in terms of being over with the crowd, it would make the most amount of sense if they're going to give one of the females a long run. It would be with Bayley. She has the most momentum. But let's get to the ugly here. So originally, the ugly which I had chosen was when Sasha Banks, her face got acquainted with the steel ringside steps there when Charlotte kicked her leg from underneath her early on in the match. But then once they got into OT, I'm not sure exactly what caused this, but she got busted open pretty bad and was bleeding from the mouth profusely, looking like she was someone casted from True Blood there for a little bit. I don't know. Did you catch what happened here with this one, Dale? And what caused her to get busted open like that?
No, I missed where all of a sudden she just started bleeding pretty bad from the nose. I don't know exactly what had happened, but in just looking at some online Twitter talk with this, some of the people were trying to go over how Sasha's even in defeat, having her bloody face in that figure 8 submission hold from Charlotte and losing is going to be one of her top moments. And the banter was back and forth. It was like, how could this be one of Sasha's biggest moments in a loss? And I was like, Stone Cold Steve Austin.
WrestleMania 13 versus Bret Hart. Yup.
That man bled so bad and passed out. Was the finish to that match? Is like it is one of the biggest moments in the history of Stone Cold Steve Austin, and he has so many. So just saying, it's like Sasha can go from this and move forward. Unfortunately, it was a loss, but she'll move forward. But that's just the thing. It's like, where the heck do we go now in the women's division?
Nice comparison there. Yeah, I like that. And only time will tell. Only time will tell. So moving on here to Rich Swann taking on the Rich Swann being the current WWE Cruiserweight champ, taking on T.J. Perkins and the Brian Kendrick. Just about the only good that I could really find out of this match here, because I didn't really think that this was a very solid effort by any means by these three, who are all very talented. Rich Swann actually remained Cruiserweight champion. He retained the belt, so there's no ping-ponging between the wrestlers in the Cruiserweight division with the title for the time being, at least, which creates a little bit of stability. Dale, your thoughts on that?
Yeah, that's pretty much it. This match kind of flew by. Obviously, I'm just going to hop right into where our bad was, because it just fits in with the this match here. It's like the best action kind of took place when we had Neville deciding to make his presence known in the Cruiserweight division, and even becoming heel, it looks like.
Thank goodness. Where has this guy been? He is someone who should have been a part of the Cruiserweight division from the very get-go.
They should have had him in the CWC, but that was for a bunch of unknowns getting some time on the network. But he definitely should have.
Right.
He should be in the Cruiserweights from day one.
Yeah, he just kind of came on out there, and he's sporting a new look with the beard, and he made his presence known, and all of a sudden, next thing I know, he's just beating the hell out of all three of those guys. And I mean, the crowd just absolutely loved it. They ate it up. They were chanting, "Thank you, Neville," and so were we, I think, at home. I was glad to see him back. Yeah, definitely. The best action in this match took place post-match.
I was just going to say, Jake, real quick, because I don't want to take too long on this topic, and we're getting a little long on our time here. But as we were talking before we started the show, I just think the Cruiserweights haven't taken off since the CWC. And I think one of the biggest things just has to be that it doesn't look like it's transitioning well to the larger crowds in the mainstream audience that we get on the weekly television, as opposed to being at Full Sail in front of that small NXT crowd, which just seems to deliver every time. That's why NXT is so good. Yeah,
and the Cruiserweights cater to a more indie crowd. And
yes,
the true fans of indie wrestling are the ones who attend the NXT tapings down there in Full Sail. Not the fans of the WWE universe who attend the shows, like Raw and SmackDown and stuff like that. It's two completely different sets of fans. So it's a very, very good point you brought up there. And the ugly of this match has to be the fact when TJP had Rich Swann in that heel hook submission, Rich Swann makes his way to the ropes, and for some reason, TJ Perkins breaks the hold, although it's clearly stated that in a triple threat match, there's no disqualifications. And coincidentally, not too long after that, it seemed like the match just kind of ended abruptly. And we were almost saying that, is there a possibility that the ref maybe just said, okay, this isn't really going very well, let's go home. You have anything you want to add to that one, Dale?
Could very well have been the case. All I just know is this night just seemed to be filled with what the heck are the rules? Do these guys know the rules in these matches? Obviously, numerous times did we get confused on the rules in various matches, and it does definitely seem very much like TJ Perkins forgot that there's no rules here, because I think he's trying to play semi-face. Faces don't hold.
Yeah.
Submission locks when the dude grabs the ropes, but in a no DQ match, really, everybody does everything when you can get away with it.
Right. So yeah, we'll get more on that topic during the Sami Zayn Braun Strowman match. But moving on here to probably one of the stronger matches of the evening, Seth Rollins taking on Y2J Chris Jericho. I think probably from top to bottom, I would say, because of the fact that, I didn't really quite like the conclusion of the women's match, this is probably the best match I thought on the Roadblock card here. Some good, solid action between two of the best workers in the WWE period. Dale, you want to elaborate on that at all?
Oh, absolutely agree. Hall of Famer Chris Jericho and the best guy on Raw. I don't know, it's so tough. It's like there's so many good guys now. It's like, because we keep saying that. It's like you got AJ Styles is so good. It's like Dolph Ziggler so good. It's like Kevin Owens so good. Sami Zayn so good. It's just so tough to kind of pinpoint who is so good, but obviously Chris Jericho's got a Hall of Fame career. And Rollins is one of the top guys in the company right now. Who knows where he would have been had he not blown his knee on that spot and had to vacate the title because of a knee injury. Who knows where we would all be? Obviously, Finn Balor got injured, so he's another one of those guys that's so good. So it's just so crazy, but obviously, very much delivered here. These two guys, I think, nailed a couple of spots that were just very fluid and smooth. Seth Rollins going for a pedigree. Chris Jericho attempted to reverse it into a back body drop, but Rollins then lifts him up into what looks like he's then going to throw him into a powerbomb, which then Jericho reverses into a Hurricane Rana, rolls through into the walls of Jericho. It was all just so fluid. And then obviously how the match ended with Jericho going for the code breaker and Rollins flipped it into the pedigrees. And they were just so seamless between all of that. And obviously Rollins picking up the win just because he kind of, says to get to Triple H, he needed to go through Jericho, then go through Owens, and then get Triple H. So obviously to further his storyline, and just obviously he's the younger talent that he just has to pick up the win here, and he did. So
yeah, so that's definitely the good. Now we kind of saw how we're getting to the bad here. I guess this really didn't quite wind up being bad if you look at how things played out with the main event with KO and Chris Jericho. But we had our bad as being the unnecessary interference of Kevin Owens, and it kind of backfiring and wound up losing Jericho, end result losing this match against Seth Rollins. But like I said, we saw how that unfolded towards the end of the show. Dale, do you have anything you'd like to add to that?
Yeah, I know. We did some long research into Bon Jovi to come up with some references for the bad and the ugly.
Mm-hmm.
Like Shot Through the Heart and You're to Blame.
KO, you give love a bad name. I'll finish it for you, man.
Obviously we can't use, and then ugly, I came up with looks like Jericho is on a lost highway.
I tried to sing a bar from that one, but I never heard that song.
Clearly, neither one of these now work with the way that the main event played out. So it was like all the work we put in to come up with the Bon Jovi references to the Bon Jovi lookalike Chris Jericho, and now they don't work because Jericho is still all well and good.
BFFs. Yeah. Yeah, they pulled the wool over all of our eyes, like the wool in Jericho's scarf there. So, I guess, yeah, we had to really reach to try to find bad and ugly out of that one, because that was pretty, a pretty solid offering out of those two. So, you can't always get all three of those easily. So, speaking of a match that had some ugly in it, Sami Zayn taking on Braun Strowman, and basically the way this one worked is Sami Zayn had to last at least 10 minutes in this match, without getting pinned or without getting submitted by Braun Strowman. This one, it was kind of tough to find really a good, but I think both of these guys were booked to look strong in this match, because for the most part, Braun Strowman had control of the match. He dominated Sami Zayn, lots of bumping, lots of selling on Sami Zayn's behalf. But the great thing is that Braun Strowman did not lose the match by getting pinned, and Sami Zayn didn't lose, any momentum by, losing the match as well. Dale, I'm going to go ahead and let you say what you have to say on this one now.
Yeah, it's just so interesting. I was counting down when we did the first 2 minutes. I was like, oh, look at that. It's like Braun didn't do what he said he was going to do, beat Sami Zayn in 2 minutes. I get that the thing was supposed to roughly go around 10 minutes, but it just didn't seem like there was a sense of Braun trying to finish the match in 2 minutes like he said he could do.
Yeah.
But yeah, in terms of...
because the pacing was interesting.
But in terms of the good, you're right. Braun beat up Sami Zayn, and Sami Zayn withstood it and lasted the 10 minutes. So, but really, it was just a big ball of confusion and weird. Just because, obviously, which I'm gonna go right into the bad with when we get right to the segment where Mick Foley comes out and he looks like he's getting ready to throw in the towel. You got
pull Ono Scorlin.
Yeah. Braun Strowman throws Sami Zayn out to the outside, and you have Braun yelling at Mick Foley. He even gets out and starts talking to him, telling him to throw in the flag. The time is counting down. This is like, we got all of this going on. And my wife even brought it up. She's like, why is the ref not counting?
Yeah, the ref forgot to count.
And I was like, and I think I just came up with something like, I don't know, I guess maybe it's not part of the rules. And then you have Braun Strowman go for the spear through the barricade. That Zayn moves out of the way, and all of a sudden you hear the ref starting to count the 10 count, and I'm like, what the heck is going on? It's like, what are the rules to this match? It's like, we now have count out rules?
Yeah. I don't know.
It's like we completely forget to even count out in a segment that would have counted both of them out when they're standing there looking at Mick Foley, telling him to throw in the white flag. Don't throw in the white flag. Both guys would have been counted out. And then all of a sudden, so just, yeah. Very much confusion and what the hell was going on. It was a mess.
Yeah. And I mean, it's crazy to say this because the way we break things down. So that was definitely the bad, but we actually kind of had to reach to find exactly what the ugly was here. And really, truly, the ugly is Braun Strowman is still not truly ready for a one-on-one type of match that goes that long. I think Braun Strowman's moveset still is very limited and very underdeveloped. He didn't get so exposed in, say, the match at Survivor Series where you have like 10 guys and it's just mass chaos and whatnot. You know, and he's kind of involved in like a whole bunch of different spots. But yeah, I mean, for a guy as huge as he is, as powerful as he is, and as quick as he is, I just expected to see a little bit more. How do you feel about that, Dale?
You're right. He just he has the throws, a couple slams, a couple splashes that he does into the corner, which aren't really splashes, but he just does the run and slam.
Yeah, it's more like a freight train crashing into the corner.
But yeah, that's pretty much it. He doesn't have much else besides that. I'm anticipating too much from him, but you definitely are seeing the signs of he's a guy that really fits that he was just a strong man that got brought into WWE. Difference though is so was Big E. Big E's a strong man. way completely
true. As football player as well, for Big E.
So it's just very interesting that Braun definitely still has some room to grow, and it'll be kind of interesting to see if a WWE halts again his push, because I know that they are wanting to try to elevate him to the top of the thing, but he's got to be able to show a little bit more in the ring, I think, now with the type of wrestling we're seeing.
Yeah, and when you're in the ring with a phenomenal talent like Sami Zayn, who in my opinion his talents are just going to waste in this feud, you know, you gotta at least be carryable.
Well, my wife was disappointed in the fact that Sami Zayn survived the 10 minutes because
April does not like Sami Zayn. I forgot all about that.
She is not a Sami Zayn person and was going for Braun Strowman to just crush the crap out of Sami Zayn. So
yeah, so I know she wasn't satisfied with the way that match ended there. Sorry, April. Moving on here to what I could probably say is probably one of the reasons that actually saved this show from being a complete, disappointment. If Emily Brown is out there listening to this episode of the No Gimmicks podcast, who did the Booty-O's taste test with me, I know she's bummed out, but I am just happy that New Day lost. New Day lost. New Day lost. Yes, that's right. I'm glad that they lost the tag team titles after holding them for 400 and however many days. I am not a huge fan of the tag team with Cesaro and Sheamus, but I became one of them tonight. And two of the reasons why are, I absolutely love the finish to this match. That is one of the coolest, sneakiest looking, they call it a phantom tag, I believe, where I want to say Cesaro,
he pulled his arm back.
Went for the phantom tag, right?
Well, he went for the tag and pulled it back and then came in, kind of phantom-ish, making it kind of look like it was a tag, but he pulled it back and then kind of because the ref knew that he wasn't the legal guy. So the ref clearly knew that there was no
tag. Yeah, and Sheamus came in and got pinned, right?
Yeah. No, he came in, took the Trouble in Paradise from Kofi, and then Kofi went for the pin, and then Sheamus rolls up Kofi to get the win.
That's right. Yep, you got it right there. But I love the whole little, they call it a feint tag or whatever. But yeah, that was clever. I really dug that. And it was Cesaro's, just another showcase for him. Outstanding performance from this guy. And it's funny because when you having the WWE 2K17 story mode episode up there, as our most recent episode of the podcast, I have to correlate Cesaro to that. If you are building a wrestler from the ground up on a game like WWE 2K, you're going to build someone similar to Cesaro. Someone who's about 6'5", 240 pounds, 250 pounds, extremely strong, extremely agile, athletic. And, I mean, it's crazy because, like I said, and just the strength. I've never seen someone be able to manhandle people so effortlessly, and it doesn't matter who they are. It could be a member of the New Day or it could be the Big Show. I remember that guy in the Andre Memorial Battle Royal from a couple years ago. He actually picked Big Show up and actually gave him not just like, one of those weak-looking body slams. He actually had him up over his head almost practically. The guy's strength is amazing.
Unreal strength, and it obviously glad that he has a championship around his waist. I just wish it would be the main championship of a brand.
Yes.
Not a United States title.
Pull the trigger, WWE.
Not an Intercontinental title. Not a tag team title. The World Championship title. I was like, unfortunately, I guess they just don't think he can get over, which I don't get. To me, it feels
which
like
is insane.
The crowd, to me, eats this guy up, so I don't understand why WWE doesn't get it. But before we shift into the bad, I just had to add the new Champs Rock. The new Champs Rock.
I like it, Dale. I like it, man. Sorry, Emily, if you're listening, because I know she's a huge fan of New Day. I know she's not the only one out there. Yeah, I've said it once, and I'm not afraid to say it. I just was not a fan of the New Day. I am just hoping, though, making our segue to the bad here, because we've noticed this wasn't the first time that we've seen Xavier Woods run interference using hellish tactics. And they're supposed to be faces. So what's up with the New Day? Are they possibly going to look at turning them heel? Because if they do, I'm wondering what direction they go in. Because they can't be heel and be the power of positivity and, handing out boxes of bootios and all that. They have to be more like they were about maybe, what is that now, about 2.5 years ago when they kind of first came on the scene.
Well, remember, though, it's like they came in, were supposed to be faces. It didn't go well. They flipped into heels. It's like, and then the heel run slowly morphed into everybody liking them. It's like they were still heels when they were chanting New Day Rocks, but no one was behind it. And then all of a sudden, everybody got behind it.
Right.
And they became faces. Mm-hmm. So it's like their heel turn morphed into a face turn. They're like, is it going to now morph backwards? Because obviously, my wife had been picking it up that they had been cheating for a long time to win. It was like they were using Xavier Woods to help them win a very many a times. It's like, and again, as you pointed out, that's a heelish move. It's like to use the third guy to win. It's like, but they were just perceived as faces.
Yeah, because I mean, I question how this was going to work out for them, to begin with. Because if you look at the one group who used the that rule, mostly to their advantage, it was the Freebirds, and the Freebirds traditionally throughout their career were heels. Being able to use that third man to their advantage, and you never know who you're actually going to face, until the time that the match takes place. So, yeah, it truly ought to be interesting to see how this, how this works out for a New Day. So, for the ugly in this one, the one spot that I picked out was the transition from what looked like it was supposed to be a vertical suplex of some sort into what turned out to be the neutralizer. So, it kind of finished on a good note, but I guess how they got there was kind of ugly. Do you have anything you want to add to that, Dale?
No, you picked it as the ugly. I didn't really have anything else to kind of disagree with you on. I'm not 100% sure I agreed that this was ugly. I kind of liked how that worked itself out. But if you're going to pick something, it could have been maybe a little bit smoother, because obviously, as we saw later with Chris Jericho and Seth Rollins, the transitions that they had into their counters were so much a little bit more smoother than this thing. So I guess it's like, if we're gonna compare it, then yeah, this would make it ugly. But I didn't completely hate the look of that from a suplex into the neutralizer, because again, it just showed the strength of Cesaro, because they went from a mat position into a suplex into the neutralizer.
Yeah, kind of had to reach on this one. So, there were a couple occasions tonight where we were kind of reaching a bit to try to fill out our good, the bad, the ugly. So, Dale, on the no gimmick scale, from 1 to 5, what do you give WWE Roadblock end of the line 2016?
Oh, man, every time we get to these, it's like I need to kind of go back and refresh myself on what I was doing with the other pay-per-views. Mm-hmm. Just because I don't want to go above one of those that I thought was better, and I don't want to go below one of those that I thought was worse. Mm-hmm.
So Raw pay-per-views haven't been receiving too good of grades. I remember that much at least.
I think I'm just going to try to stick around, maybe hopefully getting one to go even. I know that if I go to this part, it might be even. I'm going to say probably at a 2.75.
2.75. Yours is right around where I would give it. On the no gimmick scale, I don't know. Maybe it's just because I'm in a good mood and I'm feeling somewhat generous. I'm actually going to give it a 3. The fact that the New Day title ring is over, I like that. I like the fact that Owens kept the belt. I love the women's match except for the ending, and then we got a good offering from out of Y2J and Seth Rollins. And I think from what we have seen from the split brand pay-per-views, I think this has probably been the best Raw offering yet. So for that, I have to go and give it a 3. So on that note, thank you for joining us for this edition of the No Gimmicks Podcast. This has been our recap of WWE Raw Roadblock 2016 End of the Line. Please visit our official YouTube channel. You can find us at www.youtube.com/The No Gimmicks Podcast. If you would like to receive our notifications when we release our new episodes, please subscribe. We would like to hear from our viewers, so please leave us some feedback in our comment section. Also, please like us on Facebook and follow us on Twitter at the No Gimmicks PC. Be on the lookout for my updates on my personal LinkedIn account weekly, usually on Monday afternoons. Also, check out Craig Perkinson's new article on ProWrestling.com, Around the Ring and Back Again. And remember, sharing is caring. Feel free to share the links to our episodes with other wrestling fans on your social media accounts as well. That does it for this episode of No Gimmicks Podcast. For my tag team partner Dale Clifford in Fernley, Nevada, this is Todd Smith in Bristol, Connecticut signing off. Until next time around, y'all take care.